Welcome to the Story Tinker podcast, a place for in-depth analysis of stories, mainly from Webtoon. Co-hosted by sharp, witty, and dare I say, thirsty fans, we dive deep in every episode, analyzing character struggles, relationship development, and of course, theories. We also interview people working in creative industries. You can follow the Story Tinker on YouTube, podcast platforms, and social media. For bonus content, sneak peeks, and more, you can support the Story Tinker on Patreon. We're really appreciative of your likes, subscribes, follows, comments, and ratings on all platforms. Thanks for listening to the Story Tinker, and let's get started.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 112, Casual Creep, of Purple Hyacinth. And I just want to note for the record, this is the episode in which Fwoot is going to express her full and unabashed low-key simpery.
Okay, Mindy, I actually wanted to say something else. I've never been happier to eat my words for like anything because
yes.
I genuinely thought that Purple Hyacinth was gonna move on from the like days around episode 111. Because just like the narration signified like this is very much like an era coming to an end, right? And then there was the month jump, so I thought that we were probably going to end up like maybe a week later when we came back to the characters, but thankfully I was wrong, you know. And we actually go back to like right after 111, and while I'm grateful that we're going back to 111, like something that has kind of like stuck with me is like, why do we have the like 111 end scene, you know? It's like, it just, I don't know, like with this episode, it kind of just makes it seem really out of place, because it's like, if you imagine like this timeline, right? You're going through like all of these events, it's very linear, and then you jump a month and then you jump back and, you know, like nothing happened. That scene really affected.
I have a theory about that, and it is purely basically, I think the plan was that they so knew that she was going to put out this certain amount of episodes as the fast pass, right? Like that was probably planned decent amount in advance based on how many episodes she's probably ahead and whatever, right? She's like, we could do that. I think that Soph knew that a ton of people would fast pass up to that point. So that is like, it's almost like we're given like the prelude, and then that's sort of like a little thing for us to sort of anticipate. It's kind of like not a trailer, but like, you know, that sort of thing where it's like the end credit scene of a movie. Right? We just got through this whole block of episodes, and then she just puts that in there, and now everybody's like, what? So that was specifically for people who fast pass. So we just got this whole thing. It's like, wait, is that it? But then we see that, and it's like, oh. But I was like, no, we're gonna have this, and then come next episode, it's still gonna be leading up to that, and then probably the events in a month could be like season 3 finale, mid-season something. I don't know, but I had a feeling like it was just something to like give anticipation, be like, what the hell is going on? Reaction for the fast passes, and then moving on.
Oh yeah, I definitely feel that, because like before season 3 dropped, I thought that episode 111 was going to end with the reveal that like Lune's alive, and you can see a bit of like the influence of that theory on like the bingo that we made, like the activity, or I made it technically, but it was posted to like the FS Instagram. It's just a general like bingo, because we had talked about it in some of the like theory voice calls from like a couple previous days, and like I just thought that was the kind of cliffhanger they would go for, you know, one where like was alive, because I felt like they probably can't hold off on that for too long, but I think they would have also wanted to let it kind of like have that suspense for a bit, you know. And so I was like, you know, episode 111, that's where the fast pass is going to get to, you know, drop it at the end is going to be perfect, you know, for the fast passers. But then it would also like just fit really well in the overall episodes, right? If you're not reading it fast pass, or if you're reading it like binging, you know, because like, well, I definitely agree. It was a very good move for like fast passers, like reading that episode if you are fast passing. The majority of Purple Hyacinth readers unfortunately just don't fast pass, and you can really see that in like the fast pass likes ratio to overall likes or the overall likes, because like this episode right now has like 2,500
89.
and
Yep.
Oh, I still have 88 on my screen.
oh, mine is
Not
90.
89.
Mine is 90. Get absolutely demolished, guys. I have one more like on my preview of this episode than you guys. But yeah, and then right now I think in general the episodes are getting like over 40 over 40 likes. So it's like,
ooh, I went back and forth. Now it's 9.3.
Yeah, people are reading it. Good to see.
There's like 45 right now, 45,000 on 106, which means that like, hold on, let me do the math.
Like 20 times is more, or
yeah, that's like for every like 15 people, or like for every 14 people who likes the episode, like only like one of them fast passes. And then, you know, there's a ton more readers who just don't like episodes. If you read webtoon episodes, you should be liking them to support the artists and creators.
Yes.
Y'all.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like, I don't know. I want to kind of know what it's going to be like for like non-fast pass when they get to that episode. So non-fast pass, if you're listening to this. But yeah, because it's just gonna, in my opinion, I think it's just gonna feel much more out of place than it will for us, because for non-fast pass it's not going to be like their cliffhanger of 6 episodes. Like their big cliffhanger of 6 episodes.
Oh well. Yeah, say that me. That's a good point. But you're very good at story structure, so I think you should be a story consultant.
I want to become a writer.
Yeah,
Don't worry, Mitty, one day.
It's like Emperor Palpatine, do it.
Yeah.
Look,
Look, someone has to fix Lucasfilm. Not gonna lie.
Speaking of someone named Lucas, we open up with the hospital and Lila, our dear Lila, she's sleeping next to Lucas. She's got her head pillowed on her arms, and then she wakes up and she's not conscious, Lucas.
And rip Lila. Like all the relationships in Purple Hyacinth are like getting back together. Like, you know, Lauren and Kieran, they're doing good, you know. Kim and Will just got back with Lauren. As we'll see later in this episode, Lauren reunites with Tristan and Dawkin. Like, you know, they're all having their moment together. And even Bella got like her ex broke into her house, you know, like
broke into her trailer.
But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that thing is. Like it's very like skinny, you know. It's trailer and caravan. Yeah. But Lila, like her man is like dead in the hospital. Like, come on, poor Lila.
Not dead.
Yeah, not dead.
I refuse.
Dead. I don't.
Not Lula. Lula, I think, is like the one ship that like everybody is just kind of like, yeah, Lula. Like, you know, it's unproblematic. You know, she's just chilling there.
Lula, yeah, Lula is the universal ship. If you don't ship Lula, I don't trust you.
A little hard.
Like, seeing this boy in the hospital looking so just like unresponsive, and like I remember once we were talking about stuff like the hospital beds and whatever in one of the recordings we did last week. I was just there like, oh my boy. So like seeing him like that, it's probably just devastating for her. I'm just like, I really want to know how deep their relationship goes, like, because it's been implied and stuff in the background, but I'd really love to get like in-depth stuff, just a little bit, just a smidge. I don't need much.
I feel
also,
like
I want him to live. That's it.
I feel like Lula's just gonna be that thing that just happens in the background over the course of the story, and you just like gotta like watch out for it.
Yes.
And so I don't really know. Well, I think it would be like cool to get like a lot more focus on Lula. I think it's also just kind of neat to see like their relationship develop like in the background of panels, right? You gotta keep your eye out for them, right? It's like the little Easter eggs.
I enjoy that as well.
PH detectives on the mission. Sorry, that wasn't as emphatic, but yes, we will keep our eye out. All right, so now we switch to clouds, and then we see Lucy, who apparently, so posted, has not been drawn since episode 1.
4, 5,
4? Okay, she said, no, maybe it's probably said 1 episode. Okay, yeah. It's a very early episode. Now here we go again. So here is Lucy. She does exist. And she's like, are you sure you'll be all right, Benedict?
Oh my
I
god.
think the hardest part is behind me. So good to have you back.
Oh my god, Mindy.
What?
The trailer, like, I just have to say this. I never imagined like the PH characters with like a British accent. And I think I could let like Will, Lauren, maybe Kieran slide, but recently I found out Kim has a British accent and it like broke my heart. I'm joking about this, but like I was like, oh no, Kim.
I don't imagine them with any accent. But this is go ahead, sorry.
Is I always just picture them with my accent, which a lot of people think it's a British accent. I think it's just because I have the non-rhotic R sound. It's like water, doctor, like stuff like that. So it's like I kind of picture them just how I read. That's a lot of times. Whenever I read something, I picture it with my accent. So whenever I hear people reading it in another accent, it throws me off sometimes. So I understand for you guys as well. So the British isn't that weird for me. But also I've seen a lot of dubs that are really good with American accents. So it's like, So I don't know. I'm just kind of like doing.
Yeah, I'm toxic in how I can't watch dubs because it messes with how I like perceive like the characters. But also I use like the dub's accents to reinforce my ideas of the characters.
Yeah, I'm confused. So you only watch like one dub that fits in with your notion?
Oh no, I don't generally watch dubs like the way I don't like read fanfics that often too, because I don't know, it's just like kind of weird for me. But I fully support dub artists and fanfic writers. Y'all are so cool. It's just like, I don't know, it's just kind of funny to me how I'll be like, yeah, I don't know, all the characters sound different in my head and I don't really know how I fully like imagine them, but then when it comes to accents I'm like, no.
It's funny. So I actually don't hear, it's the weirdest thing, like I don't hear anything when I read. I like kind of visualize the words, or it's like an idea, an abstract concept, but I don't hear anything. And in my dreams also, weirdly enough, I see very well. I feel extremely vividly in my dreams. Like I could feel everything. I don't hear a thing. All the sound is communicated through ideas. It's like, oh, I know mentally the person is saying this. I know mentally there's a wind, but I don't actually hear anything, which is very interesting.
Ironically, I think the only PH characters I hear are Lauren, Kieran, and Kim. Like, it may be Bella. Because like Will and Darcy, no idea what they sound like.
Proper.
Wait, did you just say
Proper,
Darcy?
yeah.
You don't have any imagination of Darcy, you know, like, I don't know, proclaiming her love for you or something? You haven't.
Okay, great question. But like, she's like one of the characters I'd be like, yeah, I can see her having a British accent. But it's like Kieran having a British accent. I'm like, oh my god.
All right. So anyway, Lucy, who may or may not have a British accent, responds to Lauren. Lauren asks, how has Uncle Tristan been in the last days? And she says, he was worried out of his mind. I've never seen him like this before. I forced him to eat and drink, but I don't think he slept a wink since the factory incident. He's been better since he learned you'd be back home today. Lie.
Yeah. But when I read this, I was like, oh my god, thank god we're getting that Tristan and Lauren reunion scene, because I thought that after like the premiere last week where we got all 5 of those episodes, like I thought we just genuinely weren't gonna get that scene, because again I thought that the story was gonna move on after the ending of 111, and this is why at the beginning of the podcast I was like, I have never been so happy to eat my words. Yeah. Because I think I was a little harsh about it, and I definitely do regret that in hindsight. But yeah, I take back everything I've ever said about
also, this episode answered a lot of the questions we had. Like just practical details. We were like, what? So it's interesting. They really did address it. I'm surprised and pleasantly so.
You know, I was really worried we wouldn't get the Tristan Lauren reunion. I thought it would have already happened if Lauren was home, right?
Exactly.
But, like, it makes sense though, because Tristan is probably overworked out of his fucking mind, pardon my French, but like he's probably been like in the office for like these past days, right? Like trying to sort out everything. Like he's got a lot on his plate, trying to like organize like the forensics and the prisoners that they got and like the evacuations and everything. So man's probably busy and probably staying busy just to try and not think about his niece, you know, like doing all that. He's like, I can't deal with this right now. We put a pin in that for when I go home with my boyfriend, right?
I guess so. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I want to say like I definitely still have like a lot of questions about Tristan, because like especially like how he knew about Lauren being Lune, because like while it's kind of obvious he should have known, I think we're still relying off a lot of speculation. But I want to mention that Will does have a line in 111 where he's like, Tristan has been unreachable. But I wasn't really like sure about that line, because I wasn't sure if it was like, you know, Tristan's just not at home, or whether it's like how Kim and Will tried to call Lucy a bunch of times, or tried to talk to Lucy a bunch of times, and just Lucy would not say anything at all, and about Lauren's whereabouts. And so I thought it's maybe just like Tristan was ignoring them because he and Lucy had like, yo, we can't talk about this, you know?
Yeah.
I think so. That's what I thought. That was deliberate.
Yeah.
So yeah, and mainly in hindsight, I feel like just a line about it could have just been like, yeah, Tristan's at the office. And I think like just Lauren thinking about him in 111, since she was reuniting with like Kim and Will, would have been nice. And I think just would have cleared up some of that confusion.
Yeah.
Especially with like the ending is like, oh, we're moving on, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, yeah, I was very wrong, and I'm very happy to say that.
Yeah, so Lauren's like, I see. Thank you for taking good care of him. I can't wait for him to be back. I still haven't seen him since the incident. Should be home very soon though. Thank you for everything, Lucy. You're the best. All right, in that case, I'm going back down to the fancy soup and your favorite meal, the blueberry. If there's anything else you would like, please call for me.
Blueberry soup.
Mm-hmm. I actually did do some berry puree yesterday. Anyway, totally apropos of nothing. Okay, I'm not going to discuss the cake that we made because it's totally not relevant.
I just noticed Lauren's bed, it has 2 pillows. Kieran's bed got wider.
What? Am I hearing you? Is this you? Have you not been taken over by
I'm just saying, like, I don't know, like Lauren, I know she has something for the Darcy's girl. I'm just saying, like
you're gonna give Mindy an aneurysm.
I am.
Bundin is here. That's all I'm saying, to counteract your ridiculous romantic.
No, I'm just saying,
Lauren.
Mindy, I'm just saying, Kieran's bed got wider after he met Will.
It's true.
It did.
100% true.
Did we mention that when we recorded 109?
I think you guys mentioned the bed getting wider because I listened to that recording.
I fully know
that. God is shipping them, okay?
Yes,
God
Will and Kieran.
So like I believe it.
I don't know, like Will and Kieran, like low-key, one of my favorite ships in PH right now. Like it's a bit crack, but also it's like kind of funny in like an ironic but non-ironic way, you know?
I've seen people ship it. I've seen that. I've seen some fanfics in the tags for that.
Yeah.
Not alone.
I mean, as long as you're shipping Kieran with someone, I'm fine with that. I mean, maybe not.
Mindy, don't say that. You are going to wake up something in a part of the fandom you do not want to know.
Never mind.
Something inside me.
I regret my words.
Mindy, this tells me you have not seen the edits.
I have.
No.
I've seen Kieran and Herman getting married.
No, I mean the edits where like Herman and like Coco and like Stefan have been like photoshopped, and like Sake have been like photoshopped onto like Kieran's like head where he's like leaning against the door or something.
I've seen those cursed images in the.
That was fun. They were funny.
Those were funny.
Anywho, Lauren has a bunch of stuff scattered around. She has papers on the floor and on the bed. It seems that there's definitely a newspaper. The other ones are like books. So I think she's still, doing her Lauren investigating. And then she's standing in front of the mirror. We see her whole room. She's like, thank you, will do. Thank you, thanks, Lucy. And she has like these file cabinets that are open. So clearly she is doing some research. And she's standing in like a very not usual for her outfit. We've never seen her in like, because her previous nightgown was like super covered up. And now this is like a shift kind of nightgown with a robe over it. Much more revealing than usual. Maybe she's expecting guests. I don't know. Maybe this whole appearance was like.
I think this is just her. This is just convenient outfit to wear because, like, when you're sick and you can't really move your body, you pick the easiest things to pull on. Like, right. So like I remember, like when I had my salmonella over break, which is very, very rough. I had to go to the hospital at one point. I literally pulled on like a maxi dress, basically. I was like, that's good. That's fine. I can move in this, and this is comfy. So it's just like, I respect her choices of like, I think those are like drawers, like not underwear, like I don't know what it is, like long, they're like pants almost, but I think they're called drawers and just a bra and a robe. So I was like, that's comfy. I'd wear that to just chill in my house.
Yeah.
And it looks like she showered as well, like her hair is wet, I think.
Yeah. Yep. That's true. And when I had surgery also, like even putting on a bra and underwear was like so painful. So horrible.
Yeah.
So she's looking at the mirror and she thinks to herself, Kim was right. Lucy does deserve a raise. And we see her bandages and like you said, the bra and the drawers. And she thinks Kim, and she remembers that shocked look of that when Kim and Lauren, Kim and Will came to visit her, and aw. And then Lucy saying, he's been better since you knew you'd be back home, which was a lie. So she's just looking at herself in the mirror and pretty much feeling guilty over the pain that she caused the people closest to her. Yeah. And that full image, I mean, it's gorgeous. It's very like, you just see how beat up she is everywhere. Black and blue marks, scratches, gashes.
Yeah. I think it's also interesting to see how her arm that was shot is the one that is covered by the robe. And this is like a little off topic and a bit more relating to episode 111, but I realized this the other day and I was like, oh my God, that's kind of sus. And it's about like Kim and Will, because I just wanted to ask your like thoughts on this. But do you guys remember how Lauren was told that someone was going to betray her? Like someone has or will betray her?
The tarot card.
Yeah. And Lauren like does think about it, I think in episode 82, but she doesn't dwell on it too long. But then, and so I was thinking about that and I was like, wait a minute, Lauren, why did you tell Kim and Will like all about Lynn's findings? I was like, if they betray her,
that would be bad.
I don't think they're gonna betray her. I mean, Will, I'm like, oh, the expectations on his family and all that stuff that might build up, but I'm just like, no, won't do that.
Now I'm more
do that.
I feel like Tristan's more in that position now. Yeah,
Oh.
Tristan or Dawkin.
Or Dawkin.
Yeah.
Dawkin, I could see. I also just thought of this. What about like Naira? Because we see that whole thing.
I mean, if she did betray Lauren, it would still be hot. So, I mean.
So when Kieran does bad things, he's like a terrible person. But when Naira does bad things,
I mean, it's Kieran and it's Naira. There's a difference.
Yes, there certainly is. One of them is mine. What? It works out this way. Naira's all for you.
Look, I'm just saying. Kieran is very confident in this episode, but he is unmatched in how Naira broke into Bella's home first and even made herself tea. Like, Kieran, make a full cooked meal, and then we'll compare.
Ooh, could we do an epic rap battles between Kieran and Naira? Could we each do one of them? I'll write the Kieran part, you write the Naira part.
I don't know. I think it would have to be like Lauren and Naira, and then Bella and Kieran, because Bella and Kieran are the PS assassins, and then Lauren and Naira are like their rich noble woman girlfriends.
I can see that.
Yeah, I don't know. The truth is, I don't know. I feel like you have to have in order to like know how to write a rap battle against them. We have to have like a knowledge of how they talk to each other, which is truth. I guess we don't know how Kieran and Naira interact, if they do at all. So
but the thing is also, if Darcy and Kieran like talk to each other in PH, I am like 100% confident they would become besties immediately. Like, also Kieran third wheels Belarcy. Like, that's not an argument. He just does.
My ex, he had, because I got him into PH, right? And he had this character. He's like, Kim is gonna kill Darcy, and I'm like, where did that come from? He's like, it's gonna happen, and if it does, I think I would just be like, oh my God, he was right.
Wait, who's gonna kill Darcy?
Kim.
Kim. Oh, there's a caveman. Okay.
No, Kim. I was just like, okay. He had a lot of fun theories like that. So it was just like, oh. But I forgot about that one literally until now. So I'm gonna keep that in my mind. For Fwoot's sake, I hope that does not happen.
Yeah. One of our friends was making jokes about how if like Bella died, they would like, or if Bella or Darcy died, we were talking about this last night, how they would like just log off the internet. Well, I went like insane.
I feel like I'd like be sitting down minding my own business, and I would like sense a disturbance in the force, and I'll just be like, oh, Fwoot just found out.
Yeah, but that's gonna be Mindy when Kieran dies.
No, didn't say that. Do not say that.
Yeah.
I would just be destroyed. I would just be like staring at the ceiling while the sound of silence plays on repeat on my phone. So.
Okay, well, we're not talking about that. We will move on from this. And Lauren's looking in the mirror. She is looking very intensely. She's looking pretty devastated. She inhales. We see a focus on her forehead, eyebrows, and then she kind of like slams her hand against the mirror and scrapes it. And she's shaking. Her breath is shaking. She says, "Damn it!" And she thinks, "I never wanted to get them involved." And she flashes back to when she told Kieran all the way back when they first met that I don't, want the people I care about to be involved. And she thinks, but in the end, I still did. Tristan, in memory of him, Dawkin, memory of him, Kim, memory of him, and Will. I only wanted to put an end to the Phantom Scythe. There's beautiful, beautiful scene of Kieran and Lauren in their first embrace.
Embrace.
That's very loosely interpreted. Find the truth about Dylan. There's Lauren again. I thought I would be protecting them by hiding under the cover of Lune and bringing phantoms to justice. It's Herman who was making fun of Lune. And while Lauren spits her coffee out, finding the apostle and then the leader. The truth often comes out in ugly ways. There's Kim, falling down. I wreaked havoc in their lives. I hurt all of them in the process. What have I done? What rights do I have to? And she thinks, should you really keep doing this? Poor girl. And she thinks, what? Because it seems like that thought intruded into her train of thought. Because she just glances up and physically says, what? And then she looks up and she sees you have a little image, she learns from Kieran. The whole mirror is in red. She's there. She's like, her arm is cut off or whatever. And, it's all scratched up. And,
oh shit, I just noticed her arm chopped off. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Huh.
And also, part of her arm is missing on her left arm where the bullet is.
It's like she's on fire.
Yeah.
Come on, Katniss Everdeen.
So this is totally like taking a page out of Kieran's book, right? Kieran looks in the monster. Mm-hmm. So she's starting to feel that way. I mean, she feels tremendous.
It's like Kim, Kieran, and Lauren, the hallucination besties.
No, but I enjoy that each of in the story, the guilt is sort of shown as like a manifestation of some I don't think they're literally seeing these, or maybe they are, but it's it's a visualization of their internal thoughts, right? So for Kieran, it's seeing the blood on his hands, on her neck. For Kim, it's seeing Lauren just keep getting hurt, whatever, right? And then for Lauren, it's just her in that building on fire, the Lune uniform is in tatters, she's on fire, everything around her is on fire, because that's literally how it feels, her world is on fire again. And I appreciate that it's a narrative thread that's through these characters that shows how they manifest their guilt in a visual way, and I think that's really smart storytelling.
Yeah,
you just came in with an absolute super big brain thought. But I just noticed something else about this panel. If you look right above Lauren's head, there's the piping, right? And it looks like the part of the catwalk that fell down, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also it makes the shape of the Lune hat,
Yes, I thought that too. I saw that too. You're not alone.
And it's oh, so.
If that was
or Lauren, not Lauren, or F too. If F wrote this in the script. You too.
It's funny.
Why?
So she is shaken, her eyes go dark, and then she apparently sees, she sees herself in tiny, and then all around her, above her, are these monstrous looking etches. Just they look like these giant eyes and wide open mouths, and look like they're about to devour her. And she's and we have just a sketch of her. It looks like she's about to get eaten by one of them.
It looks like, I know that you don't know this, Mindy, yet. Block your ears because this is a spoiler for Arcane. It's like Jinx's hallucinations that she sees. Right?
You did not have. Okay,
I didn't make that. Someone said that on the server, and now I can't unsee it.
Yeah,
no, but like,
yeah,
when I saw that, that's what I thought of too. It's very reminiscent of this one aspect of Arcane. Mindy, Mindy, it's okay.
Good.
Okay, she can't hear us. She has AirPods.
Good.
Okay, never mind.
No,
okay, so
I can put it back in.
Oh, no.
Being there for this year, I only need to plug one ear.
Mindy, I will not spoiler. I'll just allude. But basically, there's an aspect from the show Arcane that is very similar to what we see here, and where they use like 2D drawings to sort of express emotions. And that really makes sense to me because Arcane came out around November of 2021.
Yes.
And that could have very well been when Soph was creating this episode. And Soph, I'm pretty sure, has seen Arcane because she was using songs from the Arcane soundtrack in some of her reels. And so like I could very much see that the possibility of Soph being inspired by Arcane, and that's where the idea of this panel originating from.
Very good thing to be inspired by.
Yeah, it is. Arcane is such a good show. But yeah, I remember some confusion about like, hey, why is like Soph drawing sea monsters or something, like quote Soph, because I think she was
not draw animals.
Like, yeah, I think Soph even called these like sea monsters, right? And so like
they remind me of like deep sea fish or like like those
sea creatures.
Fangs. Like those definitely look like stuff that you see in the deep sea.
Yeah, so there's definitely some confusion about how that would tie into Purple Hyacinth. But I guess if it was like inspired by, Arcane and she was trying to like emulate that, it would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So she's basically, like blanking out, and she's, or what's the word? She's like spiraling.
Catatonic.
Something. She's having a severe reaction, and she's her vision is like blacking out, and she just has like this hazy red stuff. And then suddenly she hears, "Hello, detective," and she turns around. She's like shocked out of it. And who appears at the window looking fine in his 3-piece suit and trench coat and brown sunglasses?
I just want to say this panel brought back the Harry Potter glasses. Yeah, except now they're tinted.
They're the Ozzy Osbourne glasses now.
Yeah. Not really. I'll tell you why. They're actually closer together. So it's like more of an 1800s look, like a pince nez glasses. Harry's are wider apart and they're larger. These are smaller,
ones are like right hair, like on the bridge of his nose.
They're older, smaller and closer together.
I want Bella to do this to me.
Amazing! Oh my god!
No, you don't understand. I felt in my bones. I was like, okay, we didn't get any Loki interactions for like 2 episodes. Next episode's got to have it, right? Like, I don't know, I had a feeling, right? But I was not expecting this. Like her just being like in the pits of like a spiral of just like my demons are trying to eat me in my mind stuff, and I'd be like, "Hello, detective," and then he's just standing there dressed to the nines, looking as like sassy as usual. I'm just like, "Oh, you son of a bitch, I love you."
That's what to say. Yes, that's what we should all tell him. And the coloring, he's framed in such vivid coloring. And yeah, we were talking earlier about how he appears darker, but the colors, everything is much more colorful over here. Like I just noticed like the red.
Yeah, I just noticed the little cuffs on his collar, and I love that. I don't know, it's a small detail, but it's literally like
the chain thing on his tie, though, like under his tie. I was just like, you had the time, sir. You're like, okay, I kept arguing with people about this. Not arguing, but just bringing this up, right? This man is in severe bodily pain right now. I have a lot of chronic pain in my body right now that's not fun. Only on like my arm and my leg, right? And on and taking off clothing is very difficult when you're in severe like chronic body pain. And this guy, not only he put on trousers, a button-up shirt, a tie, a sweater with matching pants under the jacket, but cufflinks, the little chain thing under the tie, and his glasses, and a hat that he has in holding it by his hip. And I'm just like, sir, your priorities. But also your priorities. You might be in pain, but you want to see your girl and make sure she's good. And I appreciate that.
is
But sir,
peak on
sir,
he for sure
what kind
has
of
cologne
pizza was he on, and where can I get them?
I actually know someone like this, by the way. It's a friend of ours. He's obsessed with how he looks. And most of the time he just dresses normal, but when he goes out, he wears a 3-piece suit. He sat in our house, 3-piece suit, did not take it off the whole time with his shoes on, which I never wear shoes in my house, but I'm like, why don't you take a 3-piece suit off? And he's like, well, it's a formal occasion. I'm like, you're in our house. We're your friends. He's like, no.
Okay.
I just thought of something. Sorry, you go first.
First point.
Yeah.
Look, Bundin, beauty is pain. And frankly, when you're Kieran White, the epitome of gender, that statement is just never been truer, you know? I would steal Kieran's gender in a heartbeat. And second of all, if Kieran wore his shoes into my house, I would deck him on the spot. It's gonna be episode 50 all over all over again. You do not wear shoes inside my house.
Okay.
No.
Like you personally, or like everyone else in your house doesn't like it?
Like everyone else in my house too. Like my family will wear like slippers.
At home, like in Trinidad, like when you get home, it's like you can wear your shoes, like you can have your shoes on and like walk them to like your room or something, but usually you just walk around the house barefoot. Like that's just how it is. But yeah, I thought of something that made me sad, and this is gonna come up again later, but it's like I just realized he put so much effort into his looks to kind of give the impression that he's like a-okay, to like put her mind at ease, but also to like not have to worry her with anything, and like him and blah 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 blah, because he knows that she would be concerned about him, but he wants to make sure that he looks fine so she doesn't have anything else to worry about. I'm just like, Kieran, why do you have to do that?
Bundin, sometimes I really do reconsider our friendship, because when you pull stuff like this, I'm like, damn, like Tora.
Am I lying though? Am I wrong?
Or a heartstring, you know?
And do we not point out the contrast? Lauren is being, other people have pointed this out, but like Lauren is surrounded by a loving family. She has an opulent bed. She has a maid making soup for her. She is dressed casually. She has bandages on. And poor Kieran, he just has to pretend that he's okay. Nobody's helping him when he's all alone. Ugh.
Look,
Mindy, you just made me feel like how I made Fwoot feel. Damn.
Mindy, Lauren has Lucy, she has Dawkin, she has her home. But Kieran has his homie, the doctor.
Yes, we'll go into that. Getting into that.
The doctor, give him moral support. So doctors say, oh, honey bunny, how are you feeling today?
Don't talk about Kieran and bunnies.
I'm just saying, we don't know if like the doctor we don't know if the doctor like didn't make Kieran some like chicken noodle soup or something, you know, get him some like, Valentine's gifts on his birthday because Lauren wouldn't.
Give him a little pat on the head.
Give him a Saturday.
Are you winning, son? Kieran like up high on the floor. No.
Well, based on what he says later, I don't think so, but let's just pretend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we have to move on from this irresistibly alluring panel. And Lauren blinks, and she's like, Kieran?
Radiant for her eyes.
Like, what?
Lauren really needs to get like some guards or something for that balcony, because like this is like twice people have just like snuck onto it, you know, to like scare her.
Probably like a trellis or something that like flowers can grow up like in vines, like you see in rich people houses, that you can just climb up easy. Or like, what if there's just like a literal ladder just chilling there? Like they're painting the house and they're just like, you know what? It's winter time. Let's just paint it when the snow melts or whatever. So that ladder's just been chilling there for like 2 months.
What if
that would be
Kieran have like a scoreboard where they see who has like climbed Lauren's balcony up to Lauren's balcony the fastest, and at this point it's just becoming a competition, you know?
The neighbors must be like, who's climbing up Lauren's balcony now? We talked about this on the circle last night. They're just like, oh, there's a hot guy today.
I'm just saying, like, you know, episode 1 to 7 just got released for non-fast pass, and it was a very like tangled episode, you know, very Rapunzel.
Oh my God,
you know, Kieran just being like, Lauren, and let down your hair, and then Lauren drops like a hammer on something on Kieran's head.
No. A frying pan.
Exactly. There we go.
Tangled was a good movie.
She doesn't do that. She does tell him with the greatest face ever. She's like, what are you crazy? And then he goes, oh my God, you.
it's hard for me to focus on this panel because I see the
So
sunset and the lighting in this episode. I'm like, damn, that's so pretty. And then Kieran's right there. I'm like, Kieran, I need you to move so I can look at the background.
I think you meant to say that Kieran is so pretty and that sunlight just like enhances his beauty.
I can watch you guys argue about this all day.
I don't know. At this point, it's kind of a problem. I'm like, damn, am I really like favoring the sunset over Kieran? And I'm like, yeah.
Every time you see a sunset now, I hope you think of Kieran and regret your words.
I'm just like this cheeky motherfucker. I'm just like, oh, my son.
Yes, so like he's joking and all, but okay, obviously he's not in red, and like yeah, sarcasm, whatever. But like people use sarcasm to hide their real feelings. I don't think he's making it up. I think he really is crazy for her, and he's just letting it drop and seeing how she reacts. Which is,
I don't know, I can see that. Like on an intellectual level, I can see that. Like he's like, yeah, I'm gonna put it in like a sarcastic tone, but like I don't even think he realizes that he does. Like even if he does like feel that way, which I think he does, but like I don't think he realizes it on a conscious level. Like again, he hauled his broken ass body out of bed, put on all this stuff, climbed up to her balcony and like doing all this shit. Like of course he cares about her, right? Like obviously, but it's like, does he know that? And does he think he deserves that? We're gonna get into that later. I can talk a lot about that topic, but yes.
Yeah, I find this line really interesting because Kieran is like, he has done like quite a bit for Lauren. Like quite a bit that I think pre-meeting Lauren, Kieran would be like, bro, what the hell are you doing? Like Kieran, like, you know, the purple hyacinth called the Ardala's chief of police, you know, to fake a car crash. Like that is insane. So yeah, Kieran's a little messed up in the head, a little deranged, but
he's crazy about her, just like he says.
Well, he's not crazy about her, he's crazy for her.
Okay, what's the difference? Okay. But I agree with you, Bundin. I don't think he knows consciously. I think that I don't know if he allows himself to even acknowledge those kinds of feelings because of where he is in his life. Like you said, either not deserving it or like not having possible because of, you know, he's like basically a dead man, I think, if he thinks of himself. But yeah, I definitely think that he has those unconscious feelings. He definitely, obviously, even on a platonic level, likes her, right? He's, like you said, there's been tons of stuff for her. I do think that there's also a romantic level that he doesn't acknowledge yet.
I can see that. As a Lockean, but also just like as a reader, because like I can separate my like shipper trash hot with like my intellectual brain. I can see it with my intellectual brain. That's just me.
Yeah, I wonder if Kieran has even like considered the idea that he might like Lauren more than friends, just because like you know, their situation, you know, this kind of relationship is just like not ideal. And so with the stakes that they have to deal with, it's just like, I don't think it's really a priority. And right now I think he's more like just genuinely enjoying being around her. But yeah, I wonder, like, it makes me wonder like when the Locke relationship will like start leaning more romantic, because it's kind of inevitable at this point. And I think it's gonna be like a really sentimental moment for Kieran, like where he realizes like, oh hey, like maybe I am capable of love, or maybe like I am capable of being loved.
So proud of you.
No, but it's like, my thing is, and we're gonna get into this later because there's a later scene where this comes up again, but it's like, I don't think, like, if he realizes, I don't think he's gonna think he deserves it just because of how he perceives himself and like what he's done and everything, not only to like other people but to Lauren, even though they've like, she's forgiven him and stuff. I don't think, like, I don't know, I don't think he would, I think he'd be really resistant to it just because he doesn't think he'd be good for her. He doesn't think he deserves it, doesn't want to cause any more problems in her life. Like, I don't know, I feel like that's gonna happen. It's gonna be so angsty. I'm gonna like love it and hate it so much. It's gonna be
like I just want to add on to that. I wonder if like Kieran's going to fall first. I think he's going to be the one to fall first for Lauren.
I agree.
In their relationship, and then he's going to be like, I can't let Lauren fall for me because I'm the purple hyacinth, and you know, if she fell for the purple hyacinth, then she had that deep of an emotional attachment. Or well, I don't want to say that deep because like I don't want to like undermine like platonic relationships because they're both as deep. But like, you know, if she got to the point of like if she got to the point where like she was like actually in love with me and like, you know, and like just, you know, that much like romantic intimacy, I wouldn't want her to have to suffer when I eventually end up in jail or like, you know, maybe even die fighting the Phantom Scythe. And so I think he would like deny himself like
Or even
loving
if she
her.
could be implicated for like helping him or like knowing his identity potentially,
Yeah.
like all that stuff. But
And I think so like when he realizes that he loves her, he may start to like draw back because in the act of loving her, like the only way that he can truly like protect her from his feelings and her own feelings would be to just, you know, dip. And I think that's definitely like the wrong choice because
repression.
Because they're forming a relationship right now, and you know, I don't think that they can really like operate without one or the other. And we definitely saw that at the beginning of season 2, like on a professional basis, but like on an emotional basis, they're definitely like that relationship's definitely growing and evolving. And you know, I think Kieran would just be concerned about the outcomes of him loving her and what that would do to Lauren. And I don't think he would even tell her at all, maybe because just, you know, to build on that angst factor, but also just to like, he doesn't want her to ever realize any feelings she may have for him.
Also, I have a feeling that he's gonna have to lie about it. Like he says, like I don't, or like something like that, and she uses her ability, and she's just like,
oh my god, oh my god, imagine Kieran saying, "I would never love you" to Lauren, and it's a lie. I would actually like jump off a cliff, you know?
Something like that. I feel it in my bones since began reading this. It's gonna be he's lying about it either to someone or to her, and he's like in the heat of the moment he forgets about her ability, or like he has to lie about it because of like maybe he's talking to someone else and he has to like play along, but like she'll know, and it's kind of like, oh, I want it so bad. Give me the angst.
Yeah. I do hope though that's not like they're not talking to someone else. I hope it's like a really like big moment, but like just between the two of them, you know?
I would love it to be just I don't know, I like possibilities.
It's gonna be amazing. I love it too. So current day Lauren gives him the most hilarious face. She's like, it's like disgusted and shocked and like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And she slams the door in his face. Poor guy. I don't know. He's just been through so much abuse.
Now we have funny.
Literally.
This panel makes me want to like squish his face. And I know his like jawbone can cut glass, but this panel confirms for me that he has some baby fat on there, you know? I want to squish it.
Yummy. So cute. Sorry, did I just say yummy back here? Sorry.
Cindy.
What? Cute. The cute little face. They say in Yiddish, a shina punim. Pretty cute little face. Anyway, so she walks away and she's like, ow, not even inviting me in for tea after I climbed up here?
Look, Kieran, you gotta take a page out of Darcy's book. You make the tea yourself. You break in before they realize, and you make the tea yourself. That way you have
the maids, dodge the butler, grab the hot water. Oh no, come with tea. Bring your own tea, like a thermos and like some cups from your house. Be like,
introduce Lauren to boba. You know, there's so many like just different like opportunities. That, and you don't even have to worry about keeping it warm because boba is just better cold.
You're not wrong.
I've not tasted it. Oh, anyway, Lauren's just like muttering to herself, why does nobody know how to use the goddamn front door? And he's continuing, he's like rude. She violently turns around, hobbling on her stick, and whispers, screams, no one asked you to break in! My uncle and godfather will be home any minute and could see you. How do you even know this is my room? And I was changing, goddammit! And it's like,
oh my god. Oh. I was just gonna say, Kieran meeting the family, meeting the Sinclairs.
Yeah.
I want it. Because he's still technically, because Tristan knows that she went on a date with someone, right? he knows that from last season when she was going out, they were searching the South Shore, right? So it's like he knows she has a man, but he probably also now knows that her man was the person. And if he has precinct gossip, well, only Kim and Will know, I guess, about her dating thing. But I don't know, I feel like Kim and Will and Dawkin and Tristan will begin to swap notes and be like, so he's not dead. Or like, what? I don't even think Tristan would even bring that up because that's a security risk. Because basically, he, Dawkin, and Kieran are the only ones who know the exact like that plot specifically. So I honestly don't see him bringing that up to Kim and Will actually. But my point still stands. He's gonna be sus. I feel it. I feel it.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, but I'm pretty sure Tristan knows that Lauren is at least like dating a dude or seeing someone because he wanted her to invite them to the New Year's party.
Well, at this point, is he gonna figure out that she was just using that as a cover?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think he knows that she was using that as a cover.
I think he's gonna know. Yeah, I think he's gonna know she was using it as a cover, but also I think Loki he's gonna be like, man, I know that other person has to be like Phantom Scythe, but you know, if Lauren has a boyfriend, then you know, maybe I can let it slide.
What most do. Like the family's always trying to marry her off. Well, at least she has someone.
She's got a date.
Yeah, like I feel like Tristan would like sit Lauren down and be like, okay, we have to talk, Lauren, and Lauren's gonna be like, is it about being Lune? And Tristan's gonna be like, no, it's about your boyfriend. He's Phantom Scythe. Lauren, have you thought this through? And I know, like, what redeeming qualities does he have? Like, you know, can you run them through me? Like, maybe we can let this slide, right?
God.
And now we have the best line ever, right? She's like, oh, I was changing.
I read this and thought of you, Mindy.
Best line ever.
Okay,
No, just because me and Mindy. And who is it? It was you, me, and in the episode where we were discussing this.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Because I did like back-to-back recordings, so I can't remember if it was Emma or God, who was it? Which was the other day? Can't remember. But she was really cool. And we were like debating on like who changed her, or, like all that stuff. Yeah, sorry.
Now we know. He's like, oh, don't worry. Not that I even saw anything, but even if I did, it wouldn't be a big deal. I already had to help the doctor change your clothes, so.
Okay. I will be honest. This line makes me a little like uncomfortable because I'm like, Kieran, I know it was like life or death, but bro, boundaries, you know. But also because of that, because of that, I fully imagine Kieran like was like, okay, I'm putting on a blindfold because I think he would like just be too embarrassed to actually like see Lauren naked.
I believe that 100. He would avert his eyes like a proper gentleman.
He was like out of like embarrassment. He was like, no, I could like he would feel like he was crossing a line, and he would have been, but like
you know, also I feel like he would know that Lauren would beat his ass if she found out, and she would find out because he can't lie to her. So he's like, you know what, it's gonna be. Well, he said if he saw anything, it wouldn't matter since he had to change her before. So that implies that he did see things.
Yeah. But still, blindfold man. He had a blindfold. He probably like had so many like just covers like that he was like. No.
Doc's like, are you sure that this is necessary? He's like, Doc, you don't understand. She will murder me.
He literally wears like one of those like suits that like medical professionals wear when like dealing with like diseases, right?
No, I have my theory is that he owns one of these, just like eye masks to block his eyes.
He buys like a whole astronaut suit to like avoid like touching her, you know.
PP, COVID.
Yeah.
But Lauren, contrary to your expectations, does not actually murder him. She stands there completely frozen. I love their little faces. I don't know what to call them, but her faces are so cute. And then she like everything goes black and white. She looks like she's catatonic, and then she just pretends it didn't happen and continues with this fake ass smile on her face. She's like, so anyways, what are you doing here? I love her response. She's probably gonna explode later on in the private.
Nanny.
I would love to see it. Anyways,
I love this girl. She's so funny. And he turns away from her and he's like, dropped in to check on you. And right? And like he turns away because he knows like it's a little much and he wants to pretend it's all casual. she looks at him and she's like, and he's like, what? And she says, you just saw me a few hours ago. Yes. And he's like, and? Okay, Kieran, you can't deny it. You cannot deny it. You are head over heels for her. Oh my gosh. Wow.
He just wants to make sure she's okay. She's basically the only person he cares about in the world right now, and he just wants to make sure she's okay. But I'll get into my point about this later because it's in a scene later. But I'll get into that. But now is not the time.
Okay, so he's like, oh, I just wanted to make sure my favorite detective didn't accidentally trip over another bomb in these few hours. He's like,
That's like
very funny.
I feel like that should have registered as a lie. But because it didn't, I'm low-key sus. And so in this essay, I'm going to explain why this line ties directly to Bitcher It, my favorite thing. I'm kidding. But it's like
sarcasm. It doesn't pick up on sarcasm. Like
it does.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I've said something about that.
It's sarcastic. Like we've seen sarcastic comments not show up as lies before.
Okay.
Like Kieran talking about like when he was Cinderella, he has to leave the party before his clothes turn to rags and like like that didn't show up as a lie, for example.
Okay, yeah. I keep forgetting like whether sarcasm shows up. It's like that one thing I'm like, every time it comes up, I'm like, hold on. And then I'm like, I genuinely never remember. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that though, because yeah, I'm bad at remembering this stuff.
I just remembered everything about that one episode because the Loki and that was so good. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah. But Fwoot, don't wear yourself down. You remember everything. Trust me.
No, trust me, it's stuff like this where I'm like, Well,
if you become a Loki shipper like us, maybe you'll help.
My Loki era was 2020. Okay, Mindy.
You had a Loki year?
I did. I have Loki art on my page.
I knew you in 2020 and I don't even remember that.
But see, Lauren was like my favorite character to draw. I had a Loki phase.
I guess we weren't as close in 2020. Makes sense. Because, yeah.
Awesome. And he's like, well, after yesterday's events, we both know the odds are slim, but not impossible. Very cute face again. It's like, how did you even climb up here without breaking your neck?
I just want to say, like, I love Kieran in this panel. I can't even explain it because it's like tiny, but I just love how he like leans over and it's just looking around the room. It's just like, oh my God. I want to squeeze your cheeks.
Looking around. He wants to see how his love lives. It's his love's bedroom. He wants to like understand her.
I guess
this
is his first time in her bedroom, right? And Lauren's been in his twice. So I guess it's like, making it even.
Yeah, also I just love the fact that Lauren just has a million file cabinets in her room, even though we've seen that she has an office with all of her shit in it. But the office probably just ran out of space. So she's like, bedroom, it's fine. All the file cabinets, sure. But I enjoy that he's trying to like scope out her stuff because she was scoping out his stuff when she was in his room, right? Reading his books and stuff. So you know what? He's returning the favor.
Love it. And he's like, weren't you supposed to rest? Are you even human?
Are you?
All asked. We all wondered this. And
yeah, but is Kieran from Mars? Like, genuine question. Like, did he come from Mars? Is this what Jeff Bezos found on Mars? Kieran White? And brought him back to Earth,
I believe that.
Oh,
that's what Kieran has that confirms a headcanon for me here. So,
Mindy, or not Mindy, Bundin. This is why we'll never meet Kieran's parents because he didn't actually have them. He was just from Mars.
He just manifested.
Yeah,
we manifested him. And he has a very pensive look on his face, sad little look, and he says, "I've seen worse days."
Okay, Kieran. What does that mean?
Was I not saying that he could pull it? He was able to do all this crap because he knows that he has felt worse, and that he has still pulled himself through when he felt worse, so he can like deal with this stuff. So he's just been in a lot of pain and had to deal with a lot of physical pain and act like he was normal in a lot worse circumstances before. I said this like a week ago.
You did.
Oh my heart.
It really makes sense about how Kieran was able to get like 3 ribs broken by Lauren in episode 50 and then still have that "did you miss me" line in episode 52. He fears nothing.
Pain in his life.
And Lauren looks at him. So she kind of is taking in what he said and its implications, but chooses not to address it. She's like, I am fine, aching, but fine considering everything. Still having trouble believing we're alive after all that. She frowns.
Honestly, me too. Like, I'm like, damn, you got out pretty well.
Yeah, same. Mm-hmm. And Kieran says, if the revolution does erupt, it will be the last time
Mindy.
we're supposed to death. What?
I'm just saying, I have no idea how this would tie it into it, but if the leader created Lune, and the leader has just been puppeting Lune, I'm just, okay, never mind.
Well, yeah, I mean, I have nothing to say to that except
Leader is Lauren's guardian angel.
All right. So he says, at least we brought Hollis more time. On the bright side, Lune's grand finale was quite spectacular, if you ask me. Explode. We have like a focus on his lips. She's like, don't. But he continues. Explosive, even.
I love a smile.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
This is
attitude.
Second time we've gone to Revolution mention. There was a mention of a Civil War in episode 110. So now I'm like, hey yo, F and Soph, what do you guys got planning back there? Because I feel like there's been a lot of speculation about how season 3 will end, and a lot of people think that's, including myself included, think that's gonna end with like the Redcliffe ball. But just seeing how Redcliffe is most definitely Apostle 7, and then seeing the Circus Royale who's like super sus, and then seeing how Apostle 7 was like trying to get a bunch of nitro, and how Apostle 7 was stealing it from the leaders' shipments of nitro, actually, I'm pretty sure, and how the leader's aware of Apostle 7's mutiny. I'm just like, Redcliffe ball gets bombed, it's a pretty popular theory, and then what if that kickstarts the revolution?
Wild.
Yep. So, and Lauren looks at him with like the smile on her face. She's like, just shut up. And he looks back at her and smiles too, because they have a friendship and a bond. They appreciate each other. That is something only friends can do. So romance
I gotta say, the sunset in the window pane, very pretty. And I want Kieran to move out of the way for the other window.
He's not in the other window.
Yeah, because I want to see that sunset. I'm sorry. That sunset. It's really nice, and I really like the colors.
You can always Photoshop it.
Marmon's is so good in this series. God.
I actually, Mindy, one of the last panels where Kieran's drawing the runes, last night I photoshopped him out and I replaced him with Shinjir in white on one of the barrels. I'm not sure if you saw it, but I think Bundin did it.
I saw that because I think you had to reply, like, I don't know, I think I got a ping in the server for like someone else commenting or you replying to something. I clicked over and then maybe it was like 5 seconds later I see Shinjirin in the corner, not on the floppy chair, but on like the barrel, and I was just like, God fucking damn it. It's like,
Oh, I think I did
get in the robot, Shinji.
Okay,
so
for
one
those who don't know,
Shinjir
in white is Kieran. And there's this really iconic meme pose called like it's like the Shinji chair meme.
Yeah.
And Shinji is this anime character from Neon Genesis Evangelion. And there's a scene where like he like sits down and he has like his head on like his hands, and he's like leaned over, like kind of what Bundin's doing right now.
Yeah.
And so a while back I drew Kieran like that because it's really funny. Like the post is just really funny to me. And so yeah,
and you put him in the froggy chair from Animal Crossing.
A PNG of just like Kieran himself, like without the chair. And so I put that in the panel and erased the actual Kieran.
I did see it. He looks like he's like distressed and devastated. It was so sad.
Shinji pose.
You love pain. And Lauren continues, well, at least we won't have to worry about being hunted down by both the Phantom Scythe and the APG anymore. Lune is very much dead now.
Yeah, but that makes me wonder, like, what is the APD gonna do when like Lune comes back? Because like, how do they operate now?
Right, what are they gonna do? I think they're probably gonna I think Lauren and Kieran will probably continue doing something, but I don't think they'll call it Lune, and I don't think they're gonna make it known to the APD like that. Whatever they're gonna do, I think they're gonna be not using the Lune name anymore.
Maybe
no, they definitely won't. for now, but I can like Lune is probably gonna pop back up at some point, like or they'll be revealed, or like I don't know, some circumstance is gonna happen because like it's not gonna stay dead, I think, for drama purposes. But yeah.
I think they're probably just gonna work on the down low right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were able to be pretty like low key with their investigations in season 2, because most of like the Lune clout for like the APD came from season 1, when they were actively like sending like messages to the APD for them to come pick up the convicts. But now they don't really have to do that, and you know, their investigation has just evolved, so they're not really like, you know, getting specific people for the APD to arrest. So they don't really have to like be in contact with the APD right now. So yeah, the next time they probably do come in contact with the APD will probably be like the Redcliffe Ball, if they go to infiltrate that, similar to how they had to call in the APD during the factory arc.
Mm-hmm. So Kieran at that looks to the side and is like, hope my bosses will think as much. And Lauren asks what's going to happen to you now that your targets die before you can get your hands on them. And she thinks to herself, after the beating he got and all the fights, his body couldn't withstand more, but he's still got enough strength to climb walls, apparently. And
wait, sorry, I just wanted to mention the line now, like, what's going to happen to you now that your target's died before you could get your hands on them? I just realized this, but it's like a little ironic to me, because Lune died in an explosion, but like it reminds me of like Onslow and how Lauren was trying to get her hands on him, and then Kieran killed him before she could. It's like, you know, now it's like kind of happening to Kieran, but not really. So that's just something funny that I just noticed.
Now we have the most
money shot
spectacular, portrait pose ever. We have both of them silhouetted against the sunset window that Fwoot is going to say is more important than them, and the sun is shining through, and they are looking at each other face to face, and they're like so close. And he says, "Is that concern in your voice, detective? Oh my, if I had known all it takes is me getting roughed up a little."
I would have slapped him. I won't lie. I would have slapped him.
I would have kissed him.
And it really looks like Lauren wants to do the same.
I literally, when I was reading this, I had to I was like, oh my god, just like Kieran, Lauren, so close, and him just being himself, just, and her just like chin up, looking at him like, just like, but like in just like the way that it's just their dynamic and their banter, it's like, oh, it's so good, so good.
I noticed in this episode, Kieran's like a lot snarkier and like a lot more like flirty in his snark, which reminded me a lot more of like season 1 Kieran.
I'm gonna get to that. I have the whole thing prepared.
We'd be prepared. Yeah. And she gives him the sarcastic look, but he does a little smile back, and he's like, "I'll manage as always. You don't need to worry." Little cutie patootie pie. I love him so much. And she thinks Lauren thinks, will you really be all right though? Because she can recognize that he's constantly like, oh, I'll be fine. And she's like, really?
Because he's so accustomed to having to deal with things by himself.
Oh, baby. And he's like, okay, new topic. So how did it go with your friends? Which is nice. Oh my gosh, he like literally came back just to like chat with her.
I love his little leg swinging this too, and he's like, "So how did it go with your friends?" Like, you know, they're gossiping. You know, they're just they're sharing the news with each other.
I love how he's like, "You didn't even give me tea, but she's giving him tea right now."
Oh. And she says it went better than expected. Looking down, not looking very happy. Seeing him safe and well after everything we've been through was a huge relief. We talked through everything, but I feel like both were trying to be understanding of my situation and didn't really talk about their side of things. I feel like I haven't properly apologized yet. Anyways, I told them about Lune, but I said that my partner died in an explosion. And she flashes back to Kieran asking, how much are you going to tell them about us? And she's like, oh, do you have still like fake identities you made for Lune by any chance? Right? So now we know that's where she got
from.
I'm
pretty sure I asked you guys in the 111 podcast, I was like, hey, where did Lauren get this?
Yeah.
Where'd she get this identity from? And I was like, did she get it from the Forger friend or something? Was it like off screen? But yeah, now we have the answer.
I do remember in my reread, I think they mentioned this in 93 because I reread a bit of it before the season came out, but he said that the identities were ready. They just needed to find the bodies. They got charred bodies now, so he probably had the IDs and everything all prepared already. So
nice. Yeah, and she says they might suspect it's you, but I think they understood why I handed them the fake ID. And Kieran's like, oh, too smart for their own good, these two people. But yeah,
okay, I have a bit of quarrel with this line because yes, Kim is smart, but I've kind of talked about this before, and I was like,
are you putting down Will?
Yeah, Will hasn't really done much. Like, I know, like, it's not like his fault, but I feel like, you know, especially with Soleil, it's more like him getting dragged around by Kim. And while he definitely has his moments of like intelligence, I don't know, he's not very much as like detective-y as
okay. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I feel like he's very steady and he's very calm in emergencies, and he's like, he knows how to direct people. And he's like caring, and he knows how to follow orders and procedures. But yeah, I agree. I don't know if he's like, what's the word? The deductive reasoning. Yeah, that's not his strength, and that's fine. Everyone's different. You need.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. Kieran's line here, it's like I think it definitely applies to Kim, but I don't think it applies to how Will uses his intelligence, you know?
Right.
I would love to see more into Will's, like how Will figures things out as well, though. But I mean, obviously we've seen him be like a good leader, a good, like for his job, like he's a lieutenant, he has to like mind all of the officers under him and take orders, give orders, all that. And he's very good at that. So we have seen his skill. I would love to see more of how his mind works, just a little bit.
Yeah.
But we already know that he's just full of stress and expectations. And needs a break.
I guess something else, or not really something else, but like it's just that we know Kim thought Kieran was like at least a bit suspicious, but like we never really saw Kim's thought process at this point, like on how she came to the conclusion of Kieran being the other member of Lune. And Bundin, the analogy I used for this was like them baking a cake, where you know they had the ingredients for the cake, and the ingredients being like the evidence that we as readers would speculate that Kim knew. So they had the evidence, but then the next time we kind of like met up with Kim was like she had the cake itself, and we never really saw her actually assembling the cake, and basically we never really saw her putting together that evidence and to come to that conclusion. And then but with Will, there's like he doesn't get that much focus when it comes to the Lauren is Lune relationship / dynamic. Like he finds out from Kim in 92, and then the episode just cuts there and it doesn't really pick up. So we never actually know his actual feelings on Lauren being Lune until maybe like later part of the factory arc to maybe episode 106. So
yeah. One thing I will say is that I think
sorry, I just want to finish this thought. The suspicion of Kieran is like just not really existent, you know?
I would say that the suspicion from Kieran, like they didn't show this, but like in my mind, it just makes sense for them to figure this out, is the fact that he covered for her, saying that they were on a date on the same night that Anslow got arrested, but they know for a fact that Lauren was Lune and that she was there and got him arrested, and like that. So I think they were like, how did that happen? So that's how they probably think Kieran is involved in some way, at least, because he covered for her and got them like at a reservation at like another restaurant, whatever, and that stuff. So they know that he could potentially be involved in that regard, and maybe it just went from there, because it's just like, oh, I thought it was him because you spent all your time with him. You said you've been going out with him, like all this stuff, and like that. Also the fact that Lauren doesn't really date. It's like all of a sudden she's dating this guy. Like, but again, they didn't show that, so I understand that it's not like that was just how I perceived that thought process, but the thought process wasn't shown in the comic itself.
I definitely agree with that. Like our speculation can very much just make up for like these like cuts with the characters, because when we when we like the spaces in between the characters when we cut between them, you know. And for me preferably, I would like want these ideas established because like it is pretty significant in how the characters like just view each other and their own dynamics, their own implied dynamics, I guess. But yeah, so right now we're kind of just like basing it off speculation, and it's kind of like the same for like Tristan knowing Lauren is Lune, because they don't really cover that in this episode, but I really
They will, yeah.
it in like the next episode, since this episode for Lauren, it ends with her and Tristan. So they could very much still be talking in the next episode.
Yeah. So he continues, but I think they can be trusted to keep the secret. And Lauren asks, are you sure you can trust your doctor as well? It took several years, but the guy has earned my trust. He's the only doctor I trust and like close to me, actually. Okay, so no deal. He knows stuff on me, but I know stuff on him that'll get him in much more trouble. So yeah, it's not like, it doesn't sound like it's a paternal relationship. It just sounds like it's like one of
convenience,
mutual benefit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like,
oh,
look, this is kind of true. Like, because if the doctor snitched on the purple hyacinth, it'd be like, bro, why would you do that? Like,
what if the doctor's the leader?
the doctor's the leader.
Oh, that would be wild, wouldn't it? But no,
but wouldn't that prove Bitrin then?
No, I don't think he knows, because Kieran wants to kill the leader, right? So like he would have killed him if he knew.
But I love that the God, what was I gonna say? I had a thought and now it's
Doctor
gone.
leader.
Something with no, I think it's no, it's gone. It's gone. So sad. Damn you, ADD brain.
And so we kind of mutually agreed to stay quiet and keep to ourselves, and he's never spilled the beans so far. He knows very well who he's dealing with. You could argue that it was risky to bring him in, but he was the best option I could think of. That's what I see. And now Kieran, he like stammers. He's like, so look, I don't, has Kieran ever struggled with words before? Has he ever been shy and like hard to talk? No.
He has been lost for words before, and that is involving when Lauren surprises him. I did a whole breakdown of that like quite a while ago. But yeah, usually Lauren is the reason why he like loses his like confidence and stuff, if only for like a few moments at a time. But this is him being like real and being vulnerable. And I'll get into it because it's like now basically, but like the next bit is when I'll get into it.
Yeah, so I guess let's do the next bit. He leans against the back and he's like, I'm glad you're okay. Open, honest. And Lauren looks at him and he says, you scared me for a hot second the other night when you passed out. I know you never wanted to endanger or to involve your friends or family in this. He clenches his arm. You can stay longer at my place or the cave if you need to. If you don't feel like it's safe or don't feel like returning to the real world yet.
Okay, now it's time. Okay.
I've got my popcorn. I'm ready for this.
Okay, so
why
he feels the reason why he got all dapper, right? He got all dressed up, trying to show that he's fine or whatever, and coming over, letting her know all this, like talking to her about this stuff, because he knows that he's the only person that she can be 100% honest with, right? And so he knows what it feels like to be carrying the guilt about this, because he knows that was her main thing. She did not want her family or her friends involved in any of this, right? And he was forced to break that, but he was the one who reached out to Tristan. He is the one who brought him into it, right? So he now feels that sort of guilt of having to do that, right? Having to make that choice, because it was literally the only thing he can do to like make sure that she got out of this without being suspected. But even though he knew that it was the only choice, he still feels guilty that he had to do that, right? Because he knows that she's now like full of her own guilt for like having that happen. Like the one thing that she didn't want is for them to be involved. So he wanted to come here, be a steadying like presence to like show, don't worry about me, worry about your own issues. And him knowing that everybody around her is now involved, and knowing what it feels like to carry that guilt around other people, the people specifically that your guilt is directed to. He knows that that can be really difficult. So he's trying to offer her, just like let her know that he does care for her, and that if she needs a space to get away from all that, to not be around them either for their own safety or for her own like peace of mind, even for just a bit, like he will offer that to her, because he wants to make sure that she's not feeling that like intense guilt. Like he doesn't want her to be burdened by it basically, and is trying to offer her help. And it's just but also, my boy, you need to care about yourself too, please.
Well,
Don't pretend you're okay when
I
you're
think,
not okay as
I think
well.
also, honestly, if she stayed with him, I think that would be nice for him too. Like he would enjoy it and just feel like he finally has company, you know? He's like very lonely. He lives by himself. So again, not even romantically, but like someone, a friendly face around him, you know, to talk to.
Yeah. Bundin, I really loved your point about how, you know, Lauren didn't want her like family or friends to be pulled into this, and then Kieran had to make that conscious choice to pull Tristan in, you know, for Lauren's sake. And you know, I feel like part of him thinks that, you know, it wasn't my choice to make, but I had to make it. But yeah, that was a great observation. I don't think I have much to add because you just encapsulated it perfectly.
I've had a whole day to think about this, man. It's been like, that's the main, like, that this bit here where he's being vulnerable and like expressing, like, you scared me for a bit there. Like, I wasn't sure about that. I think that's also him saying, like, you were literally like, you could have been on death's door. I don't know. You could have been dead there in my arms potentially. Like, I don't know. Like, he kind of had to make these decisions for her while they still had time. So it's like, and he doesn't want, yeah, like I said, he doesn't want her to feel more burdened by his choice than she already is.
Yeah, and I think like Kieran had like, I think 3 very prominent moments from the factory arc ish where like he genuinely thought Lauren was gonna die. Like it was just like he had the moment when like he saw Lauren bleeding, right? And he was like, oh my God, you're bleeding, right? And then he had that moment where like they were stuck in the basement and, you know, they both genuinely didn't think they were going to make it, right? And then when Lauren like kind of like just fell unconscious in 108, I think, which is
there was also when she got shot.
Arc-ish.
Yeah, because her bleeding and her getting shot were 2 different scenes, but they were like within an episode of each other, I think. But yeah, a lot of times where he was like, oh shit.
Yeah, so I think Kieran just had like that, like, bro, are you gonna die or not? Like, do I need to like plan a funeral or something? Like, but like a lot more like panicked and, you know, just like stressful, right? Because it's like, I don't know, do you ever have those days where like stuff just keeps building like on top of each other? It's just like, you know, what is it when you think it's all gonna like burst, right? And then for Kieran, like this bursting would literally be Lauren dying. Like he just had so many scares.
And like him opening up to her and offering her a place at his cave, like you said, it's being vulnerable. Not it's kind of, it's not exactly like, oh, I love you, will you, like, do you love me back? But it is in a way saying like, am I trustworthy to you? Am I a friend to you? Do you want to spend time with me? Do you feel safe in my house? You know, like it is something that she could reject and, you know, potentially make him feel bad, right? Depending on her reaction. So it does require him to be vulnerable to do that and offer that to her. And her reaction, like she does say no, but she does a lot of things afterward that like show him, you know, that she cares. So she says, I'll be fine, really, with a nice smile. And she says, I appreciate everything you did for me. Thank you for taking care of me and coming to check in on me. Right. So she did say no, but she's still being, you know, telling him, no, it's not, I'm not rejecting you, you know.
I could see her taking him up on that, like at some point, some sort of stressful event, or like maybe they're meeting up or something, like
running away.
She just needs to go there, just sit down. I would love that. I would love to see that side of her expressed.
Oh, I'm already having all these imaginations in my head. Like, okay, things. Anyway, he gives a little smile at her. He says, thank you for not leaving me in the fire. And they're just sharing a smile, sharing a sweet moment. But when she says that, she thinks back, her smile fades, and she thinks back to the factory when she was standing over him in the fire, saying, please wake up, Kieran. And it looks like she's like cradling his head with her hands shaking.
Oh, I just thought of something.
Yeah, I thought something too.
I wasn't on the episode with you guys when you did 107, but it's like,
yeah, wait. I want to.
Yeah, sorry, you could go ahead if you want.
So what I want to, sorry, because I'm not sure if we're about to say the same thing, so I really want to like get this out.
You could go ahead, show.
He says, thank you for not leaving me in the fire. And I'm pretty sure that in 107, as Bundin said, Lauren had a line about how she felt guilty for not finding Dylan, right?
Yes. Yes. That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's like,
and yeah, so in 107 we saw, that guilt over Dylan, push Lauren to find the energy to, get Kieran and, drag themselves to safety. And so it's like, for Lauren, this is very sentimental because she wasn't able to save the person in the fire the first time, but she has been able to save them this time.
basically exactly what I was gonna say,
Yeah.
man.
Sorry, Bundin, I wanted that
It's
moment.
good. It's all good. I just had an entire speech about him and his mental, so you're good. You can have that. Well, we both have that because we both had the same brainwave.
I love our same brainwave moments.
And then their sweet moment is interrupted. She's like, yeah, no, of course, looks down, right? A little uncomfortable because it's, it's an emotional moment. And then there's a knock at the door, she turns around and, looks at the door and then turns back around and whoosh, Kieran has yeeted himself out of there, jumped off the balcony, injuries and all. He is gone. So
Okay, Batman.
Yeah, I think he's just hiding under the bed, just he was like,
cool.
I kind of wish
jump from the balcony. He was like,
bed.
no, I cannot do this right now in my state. And he's just like behind a closet or in the closet or something.
Trapped in the closet.
And then he could come out of the closet and go in her bed,
It's okay. Betsy,
no.
Betsy to Kieran. Betsy, it's okay. You can come out of the closet. The people coming in are talking to Tristan. So
No, I appreciate that he left because I think he recognized that it's like this is a moment that she needs to have with her family. I cannot be here for this. This is a private thing that she needs to have. So him yeeting himself out of the building, I think is because he could have just easily hidden under the bed or something. But it's out of respect for knowing that she needs to have this moment of this private moment with her family that she has left.
Yeah, and I think Bundin, building off your point earlier about how Lauren didn't want to get her family involved, and then Kieran had to get Tristan involved, just out of necessity. And so now he's letting her have that moment where she on her own terms can get them involved and tell them and talk to them, right? Because this is the first time she's been able to. And Kieran had that opportunity when he probably didn't want to have that opportunity. And so, now he can let Lauren do what needs to be done.
So she closes the balcony door, looks around with a sigh, inhales, and all right, let's do this. And she says, come in. And, the door opens and she is gripping her cane and her crutch. And she's like, thinks to herself, keep it cool and just explain everything you did with Kevin like you did with Kevin earlier. Puts on a smile. She's like, hey. And then we have our two lovely men walk in. We have Dawkin, Tristan. The hands are shaking. That's Dawkin's hand shaking? Tristan's hand shaking, right?
I just noticed this detail, but Tristan's nose and underneath Tristan's eyes are shaded red. I'm actually going to jump off a cliff now and sob.
I noticed that upon reread last night. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I before this season, I was like, bro, Tristan and Lauren's relationship in this season is going to break me. And I even tagged Soph in a story about that, where I was just like, bro, the angst. And Soph was like, are you good? And I was like, no. So yeah, this is me falling apart.
And talking to Lauren and they totally have ginger hair. I'm just saying the hair went from dark brown to ginger. I mean, a little bit ginger.
Lighting.
And she is kind of grimacing and she's like, just keep it cool and explain everything. But there's a lump in her throat and she ain't really succeeding. Dawkin turns around, looks at Tristan, grabs his hand.
Yeah, I sorry, I just wanted to say this. I was a little surprised that Dawkin was involved in this because he wasn't really mentioned before. Sorry, I'm a bit nasally right now.
I figured it's just because they needed to be like Dawkin's yeah, she was definitely coming to visit me. I knew about this.
Yeah.
Also they're partners. So
yeah.
I also think that he's there for moral support and emotional support for Tristan. I think Tristan's going through a really hard time now, both with his niece and probably with PS, maybe APD stuff, and maybe, you know, the explosion there, and whatever, wherever they are, wherever maybe yes organization, sorry, maybe involvement in PS either of them have, I think they definitely work together on APD stuff, clearly, right? Because Dawkin mentioned that, you know, he's been in touch with Tristan. So I think that they're there both for professional reasons and emotional reasons to support each other.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that. So I was surprised to see Dawkin here, but I was like, yeah, it makes sense for him to know. But I guess it's like,
sorry.
Yeah, it was just like another like loss for Lauren that hadn't really been talked about before, because there was like focus on how she had to tell Kim and Will and how like Tristan now knew, but like there wasn't really much on Dawkin, and now he just knows too, right? So that just sucks for her.
Yeah. And like also Dawkin is her godfather, right? I think they're both her godfathers. I think I read that back when I was doing rereads. So it's like I love also, first of all, I love that Ardhalis allows to have two godfathers or two godmothers or like whatever. That's cool. But it's just like I appreciate that he wants to be able to step up and be there for her, as well as, because when your parents die, your godparents are traditionally the ones that like can take you in, like as well. Like that's what we're taught in like the Catholic Church anyways. It's like godparents could like step in if your parents are unable to. So like I appreciate like him being there not only for Tristan but clearly for Lauren as well. So it's good stuff.
Yeah. And then, you know, they grab each other's hand, which I think we need to mention again because it's so beautiful. And Tristan comes forward, he's like, Lauren. And poor Lauren, she's like been trying to keep it in, but she's like, why is my voice not? And Tristan comes closer. He's like, Lauren, oh God, you're okay. And he's crying.
Like, bro, I'm not okay. I'm like, literally, my house is now an Olympic swimming pool. So like, if you guys want to come, like, of my tears. So like, if you guys just want to come swimming or something, it's probably like, I don't know, present over and we can go skating or whatever.
No, like, I personally related a lot to this scene because I've had moments with like my parents where I have to like talk to them about something, or I'm not like okay about something, but I need to like talk to them about it anyways. And like you just try to hold yourself together, but then they become in like, are you okay? Like they begin to show concern, and that you just feel the lump in your throat. And you're trying to hold it together, but you just can't. Like specifically, just I remember this time I was like 17. I felt like I messed up one of my exams, right? And so like my mom was doing like carpool with some of the other girls in my class. So like we literally had to drop like 3 girls back, and I'm just like holding it. It's like, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. And then as soon as we dropped the last girl, like one of my friends, like we like just drove away. My mom turns to me, we're at a red light. She's like, are you okay? And I was like, no. And then it's like I like burst into it because it's like you're trying to hold it together. So like just the facial expressions, the way that you see the lump in her throat, you see both of them like concerned. It's like it's real. It's very, very real emotions that they're showing here, and it's like you feel it. You feel his concern for her. You feel how she feels like she's disappointed them, and how she feels like she's brought them into this now, and she doesn't want that. And it's just like heartbreaking.
But then you're making this like 10 times worse than it already is, and I'm like, oh man,
it's real. Like
the way like Lauren steps back too, because when Tristan reaches out to her, because it's like she's like scared, or is it?
It's like ashamed almost, not ashamed, but like
she feels like she doesn't deserve that hug because
yes,
because like she mentions earlier that she meant to apologize to Kim and Will, so she definitely does feel guilty over the situation, right, and for making them all like concerned, and you know, like seeing like Tristan right now, who is just like who like she hasn't been able to like contact like this entire time, right? And you know, I think Tristan, who definitely had less of an idea what was going on with Lune in the factory arc than like Kim and Will, because Kim and Will were like actually with Lune. It was like just, I think it would have been like much harder for Lauren to reunite with Tristan, because they just, you know, she knows that Tristan had to like watch that explosion, having not seen her at all, or having no idea. To her, like she thinks that he had no idea, and then later she finds out he knew they survived, but like still just the idea of watching that, you know.
And her expression here is so perfect. She's like, I don't know if I'm trying to replicate
She's
it.
trying to
Like,
hold back tears, trying to like because she's got the lump, and like when you got that lump, it's like, oh, you just hold it back, so you just like clench yourself, and like she doesn't even like she like as soon as he like puts his hands on her to like comfort her, she knows that she'll like break down probably. That's what happened to me in the car when I was like, no, I'm not okay. It's like my mom grabs me, so it's like it's the same thing. Like she just knows that she will fall apart, and she doesn't want to. She wants to like apologize. She doesn't think she thinks she's messed up, and so she doesn't want them to like. Oh God.
I think like she just like she doesn't want right now. Like she doesn't want to feel like they
torment
her, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
But she's still reaching out, and she's like hunched over Dawkin. I mean, Tristan's like shocked, and she says, "Uncle Dawkin, I am." And then there's tears streaming down her face. She looks so miserable. And she's like, "I'm so sorry." Dawkin looks shocked. She says, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I never wanted to hurt you guys, and Kim or Will. I'm so sorry for what you've gone through because of me. I'm sorry I didn't tell you, and you had to find it out this way. Me out of anybody knows how scary this must all feel. But I still." Oh. And then she.
Oh my God. Because she's like, I know what it's like to think that someone's been blown up and dead for you. So now she's literally like putting herself in Tristan's position right now. So oh my God.
I literally, man, I'm gonna. Yeah, this probably like the closest I've come to crying in a while for PH. It's so like I love how like she just repeats I'm sorry, because it's just like, you know, she's just letting it all out, and I think she's like been relatively holding back with people because you know, Kim and Will, like they're obviously very emotional, but she had something to do with them, and that was to explain the situation with them. And then Kieran came, right, and she was decently nonchalant with him, right, with his flirty comments. So, you know,
they were both like as well, right?
Yeah, they were both like using something to distract them and to like hide their like actual feelings. And Kieran does get a bit like genuine at the end, but you know, then it's interrupted by Tristan and Dawkin coming in. And I think that's what really is like really like forces Lauren to break down, because you know, Tristan already knows that Lauren was Lune, right? So for whatever reasons he knew, and so she doesn't have to explain as much to him, I think, because of that. And so her business with Tristan and Dawkin is not to like apologize and also explain what's going on with Lune, but it's just to apologize and to be there with them.
And I think that because they're her parental figures, for sure Tristan, and it seems like Dawkin to an extent too, she feels safe enough to like break down in front of them, because you know, like when you're an adult or a young adult, you know, most of your life you go around and you're responsible for yourself, and like you have to be the strong one. But when you're with your parents, they're kind of, you know, they're the figures that have always been taking care of things, and they're the ones that like you feel in healthy situations you feel safe around, you feel secure around. And I think that she's finally like letting that burden go, like letting it off her shoulders and like breaking down, because the people that raised her, the people that were the trustworthy ones, are there for her now, so she doesn't have to be the strong one right now.
Yeah, like parental figures, definitely. Like the way that you are with your friends and the way you are with your parents are two completely different things. Like with Kim and Will, like they already knew on some extent, and like they're a lot more on the same level. So Lauren probably doesn't feel like she has to. I mean, she still definitely feels guilty, but it's not on the same like level of, oh, I've disappointed them, I've let them down, I've endangered them. Like when it's your family, like it's a whole different feeling, I think. So like the fact that she couldn't hold it together, like around my friends, I would not have burst into tears over like stuff like that, right? I would have just been like, I'm so stressed, whatever. But then when it's your parents have expectations, and that like that love that usually they should have, that love for you that you've had for you since you were small, and like all that, and like it's all in your head when you think about that. So her breaking down in front of them just makes sense in that context.
I think additionally is that, Tristan, Lauren, Dawkin, they've lost family to the Phantom Scythe before, right? They have that shared sense of loss in Alexander and Rachel Sinclair and how those two died, and it's very much implied that Tristan suspected like foul play in it, so like the Phantom Scythe or something, and so the factory was Phantom Scythe, right? And Lauren, yes, she kind of got put in the place of Dylan to her loved ones, and her loved ones got put in the place of her, but she also kind of got put in the place of her parents, and Tristan and Dawkin had to like relive that. And I think I just remembered this too, but the car that the car that Lauren's parents were in a police report, it was stated that the car had exploded. And so for Tristan, the narrative being like the car exploded, the bodies were just too charred to be identified, really. For Tristan, he relived that with Lauren, and probably Dawkin as well. He relived that, Lune's body is too charred to be identified, the explosion, right? It's a lot of parallels, not only to Dylan, but to the other Sinclairs.
Yeah, that's a good point. The extra traumatizing. And there's this beautiful scene where Tristan catches her. She's leaning against him, and he says, "Everything's okay, Lauren." And he hugs her close, and he says, "All that matters is that you're all right." And she just keeps saying, "I'm sorry." And he just says, "It's all that matters." And Dawkin is coming closer. Looks like they're going to have a group hug.
God, I love that. Just like he's like, all that matters is that you're okay, and that's the truth, right? Like he literally doesn't care about anything other than like her safety in this moment. And I just like, I appreciate that they show that he genuinely sees her as a daughter, right? Like as his family, his someone that he needs to take care of. So it's just like, I really appreciate them showing that care that he has for her. Like even in all of the like shit show that's been his past like couple days, Lauren has probably been like the thing that he's been the most concerned about.
Yeah, and at Bundin, as you mentioned, like this is the truth. Lauren's safety is all that matters to Tristan. He couldn't care about anything else. He couldn't care about Lune. He couldn't care about the Phantom Scythe. He doesn't, I don't think he needs Lauren to explain to him everything about Lune and what she's been up to, the way that like Kim and Will kind of needed that context, because to Tristan, it just doesn't matter. For Tristan, he only cares about Lauren and her well-being. And I guess that also, ties back to 107, where he was upset about the painting, yes, but he didn't want to make Lauren upset. And how he lied about that. But here he just genuinely does not care about anything else, only about her.
I do wonder if they're going to have that conversation at some point, though. Like, is she going to tell him about her parents being apostles? Does he know that already? Like, I'm very curious about those things, but I know that this is not the time or place. But I'm curious about upcoming episodes or like stuff in the future. Definitely, that's something that I thought of.
Also, I just want to mention Dawkin has not said much, and Dawkin is a very sus character. So it's a very emotional moment. But Dawkin, what is going on inside your head? And like he looks horrified in the last panel. We see him before he comes down to hug Lauren and Tristan, and he doesn't immediately catch her to or go forward to catch her. I know it's a moment between Tristan and Lauren, but I'm like, Dawkin, what is going on inside that head of yours? Is it Phantom Scythe stuff? Because we don't really know what he's thinking right now compared to Tristan, and it'll probably get elaborated on in the future, but right now I don't know. I find it a little sus, and I feel like if he ever does get revealed to be something PS, we're gonna reread this episode and be like, oh no.
I agree. I totally agree with you.
Because he basically like he's if he's Phantom Scythe, he basically just got to confirm that Lauren is Lune, right? And it's like, whoa. And again, remember like that thing I mentioned earlier about how Lauren, like I didn't really understand why Lauren wouldn't tell people she was like Lune and explain details of Lune while she had that betrayal foreshadowing. Like, Lauren, you're setting yourself up for failure here.
Oh, beautiful, awesome, amazing scene. So now we transition. Suddenly, everything, all the space between the panels is black, and we see Kieran's kitchen with he has a lot of papers there. I think that's when he was from last time he had Lauren there. Anyway, he comes in, he's untying his tie, he frowns, he unlocks the door to his drawing room. We see him stepping through all the drawings in the box, and somebody pointed out that that cloud picture looks like lanterns being released. So
The
maybe
one on the left?
The one in the middle.
Yeah, middle
of the second papers panel.
Vertical. Yeah, maybe.
If this is a festival every year, Tangled style.
Yeah. So he pulls out his chair, and now we see a massive red wind. So he's trying to sit in the chair, and he's just shaking all over. And he's like, oh, right. And he ends up crashing. He doesn't make it in the chair. He just falls down. All the papers fly, and we see, shirt lifts up, and we see like this giant bruise. Oh, poor baby. So yeah, he has been, and then he's like on the floor. He flops down on the floor, and he's just sweating and huffing and puffing. That man has been like acting and bluffing his way through the entire time.
I may be delusional, but one of the papers there, like the top one on the mainly contained stack, it looks like the sketch of Elvira Lloyd, or not really Elvira Lloyd, but there's this one sketch from episode 38 of a woman that Lauren finds of a woman who looks a lot like Elvira Lloyd, and it reminds me a lot of this sketch here on the top of the stacks. But then there's another paper sticking out of someone wearing a hat, and it looks a lot like a newspaper boy hat. And I might be a little delusional, but I don't know. It kind of reminds me of Dylan, right?
I thought that as well. Just like looking at this, I could see like the paperboy cap that's like right in the middle.
Yeah, and there's like on the side of the paperboy hat, the line is a little bit thicker, so it kind of looks like a patch. And who has a patch on their hat in that specific area? I'm just saying,
Yeah, it'd be an Easter egg. Who knows?
I think
but
so.
I just like that they showed this because it's like, how are you not dying right now, sir? Well, he is also, just on the inside.
I just noticed one of the papers is actually a different color than the other papers. Is that going to be significant? Yeah. Oh wait, no, it's the paper he pulls out. Never mind. No, please.
Okay.
It's like, in old Disney movies when it's like whenever there was an object that people would interact with, it's always like the least detailed one in the on the thing. It's like that. So I was like, ooh, what's that?
Okay, Bundin, I'm like Lauren, blind as hell. So
yes, that's the paper. He pulled out a paper, and we see a symbol on it. It's like two, whatever they're called, brackets, but in the and then on a stick.
It's a rune.
It looks like greater than, less than, and then a line through the middle.
Yeah, and then there's circle.
Like
if you like, the symbol thing.
If you like rotated two V's, so like the like mouths of the V's would be facing each other, and then you like cross them.
But like
and then you put a line down the middle and two semicircles.
What if it's like initials? Like if you turn it on the side, it looks like A and V.
Okay. So I saw there's been a lot of speculation on it, and while I haven't been able to keep up a lot with the speculation, the runes have been identified as the Isa runes, or as the Isa rune, and then the like Ig rune, Igwaz, I think.
I know nothing of runes.
Igwaz. Igwaz rune. And they've been combined. So the Igwaz rune represents unity, harmony, as well as undying romantic love. A safe home and safe heart is its main representation. Igwaz is also the rune of sexuality, as it means seed in its most literal form, and the joining of two forces to create a third force. And then the Isa rune is the rune of control. Oh wait, hold on. Isaz. No. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Issa, let me Google this. Okay, Issa's rune meaning. It means ice, and it's like the rune of like concentrating. Another source is saying Issa ice. This is a very beautiful rune, exceedingly strong, but undoubtedly with an element of danger. Ice has an important role to play in purifying the earth and eradicating disease and pests that have been spread during the warm summer and wet autumn. So I'm not entirely sure, but I saw a lot of people saying it meant protection, and I'm not entirely sure what that source was, but earlier I googled like what it means for runes to be combined, and apparently like nowadays bind runes are gaining some popularity again, and many people use them as sigils or amulets to cast spells. By combining different runes, you are asking the gods for a result, good or bad, for you or another person.
My friend actually is pagan, and she her family's been pagan for generations, and she has like a tattoo with runes in it with her last name. So like, yeah, it's definitely a thing.
But yeah, I think there's mainly a question about what the two like circular lines around the runes mean, because it's
very clearly
most people believe that like the center runes or combination of runes means protection, but it's like what do the circles mean? And I still don't think people have really like come to a solid conclusion right now, but hey, we'll probably find out in the future.
Yeah, so let's just talk about what we see him, his connection. So we see that it's a flashback, and we see him scratching along the wall, scratch, and then we pull out and we'll see his shirt, and it's all like ripped, and then we see it looks like young Kieran just grimacing, looks like he's in a lot of pain, emotional or physical. And then we pull out and we see he looks like he's in a prison cell, wearing just a bare shirt. He's barefooted. There's another pair of feet over there.
It's like two left feet too, so I'm not sure if it was like just an error in the art, or like
I think it's just an error,
or maybe there's two people in there. But I'm like, hey yo, Kieran, who are those people in there?
Dylan, is that you, son?
Hold on. And he's that one. He has scratched that rune all over the wall. Okay, I have a theory. I think that the person he was protecting, right? Bella's like, oh, I've never seen you protect anyone since. I think it's that person who's in the cell with him.
Oh, yeah. So I was thinking, because people have concluded that like the runes mean protection, I was thinking, and I was wondering like, why does he need so many of them, right? Like, I was thinking maybe every day that they were in the cell, he drew a rune, like a rune for every day to protect them, right? And then, the combination of runes that caught my attention, because it was kind of like that, meaning that he's like asking the gods for a result for you or another person. So for him or someone else, right? The gods, who would be the gods in this case, either like probably like the authorities, or like the Phantom Scythe, or like the APD or the royals or something. Wherever
I had a completely different interpretation, just because I like my complete like just blind reaction to this symbol, like and him just constantly drawing it. It reminds me of like, he doesn't want to forget it. He needs to have it in his mind. I think the symbol has something to do with the person who kidnapped him or is torturing him, or potentially even the leader, right? Because he's so obsessively putting this on the wall. I think he's kind of just, it's like as a reminder, it's like something to drive him forward, like remind him why he's in this situation, what he's working toward, basically. And I think that it's like, it could even be part of a symbol, like, because those two things, they're so like, they almost look like they're cut off, those two like circle symbols around it. So I don't know, I think it's something to do with his personal vendetta and why he's doing this. And I think it's something about like, I don't know, I get the vengeance sense from it. That was just me reading it, not knowing anything about runes. It could be something about runes, but I still have a feeling that it's something more along the lines of like what's driving him toward his goal.
Yeah, I want to say that like the crescent shapes definitely reminded me of like the moon crescents, so it's like maybe he was like planning this for a while. And look, yeah, I wasn't really expecting like runes and purple hyacinth. Like, it was a surprise for me, because I guess like purple hyacinth hasn't really gone super like spiritual So it was just interesting for me to see the runes. Like there was Hecate, but like she used like tarot cards, and so it felt like, you know, a bit more like
Greek
that dark
goddess
academia,
magic.
right?
Yeah.
So I think also that he's thinking of this because he's thinking back to the time when, you know, he just told Lauren, oh, I've been through worse. I'm pretty sure this is what he's remembering. This was the worst time for him.
Yeah.
Oh, poor boy. Oh, the cell looks awful. Bare, dark, dirty concrete. It's like a sack and a bench. Oh, poor boy.
Yeah. But part of me does wonder, like, because of that one panel from 107 where Kieran was like, where probably Kieran was hidden in the background. And part of me wonders like how old he is here. Like,
yeah, like,
is this really like, is this Phantom Scythe? Like, I wonder, like, is he in the Phantom Scythe right now? Because I could very well see this being like Grey Chapel. He still looks like he's in a cell, but I could see it like, you know, like the bags and you know, just the barrels kind of remind me of Grey Chapel, and the overall just like lighting and grayness is very reminiscent for me. So
he looks kind of younger here. I guess we can't really see, but when he was when he was drawing, remember that one picture of him drawing? He's like, "Oh, I never want to forget," whatever. And he's a teenager, so he looks old. He looks older there.
I think Soap said in that image he was like what, 16?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was confirmed that he was 16, and
so it was like 1 year before his first murder.
Yeah, so he was probably in Phantom Scythe by now. By then,
well, because of the like panel of like him drawing in the back, probably him drawing in the background, which was pre Phantom Scythe. That kind of for me was like, how long has Kieran really been in the Phantom Scythe? Because he does have some like really brutal flashbacks, but some of them go pretty young, and I was like, I don't know. It's more like
Kieran's backstory is gonna murder me.
Yeah,
he could have had a terrible life with whatever his family, Grey Chapel, whatever, and then had also a terrible time in Phantom Scythe. Like he probably was just effed up.
But he was
everywhere.
such a pure boy at 16. What happened? I need to know the order of events. God.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think we're gonna get more of that in season 3. I think we'll get some Kieran backstory.
Loki is kind of like, I think I mentioned this before, but that's kind of like what I really like about Bella's backstory is that there are like events that are alluded to by other characters that aren't necessarily relating to her, but it really helps put her flashback scenes on a timeline. But Kieran doesn't really get that. So I'm like, Kieran, can you give a little
Kieran's
more?
part of the big mystery, isn't he? Right?
Yeah. I saw some discussion though that I was curious what you guys think. Like, it was about how like Kieran's backstory being held out on us has gone to the point of like it being a bit detrimental because we just can't, well, because we just don't have the context for a lot of his flashback scenes. And I was curious what you guys thought on that, because I
that's
like
a bad thing.
I definitely agreed that like, you know, there is just genuinely a lack of context for a lot of the flashback scenes, but I'm not sure how I feel about like his backstory coming yet, you know, just with the pacing of the story.
His backstory is definitely like a big part of the plot itself. So I don't see the reason why we need to get it now, because we're like halfway through ish of the story. I feel like getting it now would be too soon. We can get bits and pieces, but I don't think that would.
Yeah,
I don't want his whole backstory. Like I want it, but it's like I need it to be given at like the right moments, right? Because it needs to have that narrative punch. If we get that too early, it's gonna be like we're gonna have like it'd be better off in the future in my mind in terms of like the narrative. But also I think about a lot of my favorite like character reveals, right? Because in some series that I've read, like books, like they allude to things with characters, but they don't confirm anything, or like there's things that you want to know, and then they don't give it to you until like toward the end of like the last book, and then suddenly it all makes sense and it illuminates the entire narrative in a new light. And I really enjoy moments like that personally.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with that.
Awesome. Well, I know this has been an amazing episode. Like
so much.
It kept going on and on and on. I was like, whoa, we got like Lila and Lauren and Lauren's like internal monologue, And then Lauren and Kieran, romance and funniness, and Dawkin and Tristan, and Kieran flashback. So it was like a lot.
This episode gave us a lot. When I said it fed us, I didn't mean just like the shit. I mean they fed us like so many different things that I wanted. Like, no, I didn't think I would get it all in one episode, not gonna lie, but I'm really happy.
Yes, it was amazing.
Yeah, that Tristan scene, I've been waiting for it. Like, I've been waiting for it since I saw him like in the factory arc. Like, and it felt so good finally getting that scene.
Oh, beautiful. It was amazing. Well, on that note, I am going to go to bed and be dreaming of, I don't know, something from this chapter, probably.
Yeah, thank you again for having us, Mindy. I was especially really happy that I signed up for this one.
Yes,
Yeah.
Awesome.
I had so much fun. So
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a good night, ladies.
Bye.
Thank you so much to my current patrons: Susie, Lady Libris, Lily, Jenny, Haley, Molly, Veronica, Emily Jo, Rochelle, Saucy Tuggles, Meg, Ann, Rose, Priya, Alexa, Misty, Laura, Joanne, Patty, and Milta, Esther. I'm watching a people towards Papacy, Marie, Jen, Emily, Jean, Jen, Erin, D, Kay, Lily, Beckett, Miranda, Christine, Sadie, Kelly, Daniel, Louisa, Mr. Vastaldo, and Kaylee. Your support is truly appreciated.